been thinking about a nature theme in the Tuesday Thoughts for the Days, and I'd like to just share a few thoughts about weeping willow trees. I'm very fortunate to live in an area where there are a lot of trees. It would be lovely if I could stand underneath one of them and film this, but that hasn't really been possible. But I'd just like to show you this beautiful card that a friend gave me, and so you'll have to make do with that for the moment. It's a beautiful weeping willow tree, and you can see there's a river as well on the card, and that's one of the ways that willow trees speak to me. They like to be planted near where there's a supply of water, which reminds me of the living water that we are meant to draw on, God's living water. There's Psalm 1 talks about us being like trees planted by a stream, and in the Bible in Jeremiah chapter 17 again it talks about those who trust in the Lord will be like a tree planted by a stream. One of the other things that is interesting about weeping willow trees is if you compared a willow tree with an oak tree, which I also like incidentally, and if somebody said to you, which of these two trees do you think are the strongest, you may well look at the oak tree and think, oh, that looks very sturdy and strong, whereas the weeping willow tree may look a bit droopy and weak. But the interesting thing is that in a storm, it is often the oak trees that don't survive because they can't bend, they're not so flexible. Sadly, in the great storm many years ago in the town of Sevenoaks in Kent, where there were actually 7 oak trees, in the great storm, 6 of them didn't survive. They broke, and the town was left with just 1 oak tree. And the interesting thing is about willow trees is that often they don't break in a storm. They're very flexible and resilient, and they're able to bend rather than snapping in two. That speaks to me again of how we can find our strength in God if we're resilient. There's so many things I could say, really. Another interesting thing I discovered is that the bark of a willow tree, the bark and the sap have healing properties. The ancient drug aspirin is actually derived from the bark of a willow tree, so that speaks to me again about as we trust in God, if we are like that tree planted by the water supply, that we can help to bring healing to others. As I say, there's a lot more I could say, that perhaps I'd like to just finish with a poem that I've written called Weeping Willow. Weeping willow, my favourite tree, in you I find such beauty. Slender leaves, dripping rain, I see you crying once again. To me you are courageous and brave, weeping tears unafraid. May I be like you, unashamed to cry, planted firmly, reaching high. Your branches flexible yet strong, able to withstand storms that come. When other trees fall to the ground, resiliently you still stand. Your leaves and bark give healing balm. Beneath your branches I am calm. Weeping willow, a symbol to me of gentle strength and serenity. I pray you're blessed by these few thoughts that I've brought to you today, and thank you for listening.